The rivalry between Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan has become one of the most intense stories in WWE, and when Damian Priest enters the equation, the situation becomes even more dangerous. Liv Morgan has built her entire WWE career around surviving impossible situations. She has repeatedly found ways to escape pressure, avoid danger, and turn chaos into an advantage. But when Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest decide to work together, Liv suddenly finds herself facing two superstars who understand exactly how to put their opponents under pressure. The idea of Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest trapping Liv Morgan on Raw immediately creates a dangerous situation. Liv knows Rhea better than almost anyone. Their rivalry has been fueled by championship battles, personal issues, and a history that refuses to disappear. Rhea sees Liv as someone who took advantage of her absence and helped create one of the most frustrating chapters of her career. Liv, on the other hand, has repeatedly shown that she is not afraid of Rhea. She knows that Rhea is stronger. She knows that Rhea is more physically imposing. But Liv also knows that Rhea can become emotional when the rivalry becomes personal. That is where Liv has always looked for an opening. The situation becomes completely different when Damian Priest is involved. Priest brings another level of physical strength and intimidation. He has his own history with the Judgment Day, Rhea, and the larger WWE landscape. His presence can completely change the balance of power. If Rhea wants to send a message to Liv, having Priest nearby makes that message much stronger. For Liv, being surrounded by Rhea and Priest creates a problem that cannot be solved simply by running. She needs an escape. She needs a strategy. And most importantly, she needs to avoid making one mistake that could leave her vulnerable. That is what makes this kind of Raw confrontation so compelling. Liv Morgan is one of WWE's most unpredictable competitors. She has built a reputation for surviving through creativity rather than relying only on physical power. When she faces Rhea, she knows she cannot simply stand in the middle of the ring and exchange power moves. She has to think. She has to move. She has to wait for the perfect opportunity. But Rhea understands that strategy. After everything that has happened between them, Rhea knows exactly what Liv is capable of. Rhea knows that Liv will look for an escape. She knows Liv will try to create confusion. She knows Liv will attempt to use the smallest opening to turn the situation around. That is why adding Damian Priest makes the trap even more dangerous. Priest can block one escape route while Rhea controls another. Liv suddenly has fewer options. And when Liv has fewer options, the pressure increases. The psychological side of the rivalry is just as important as the physical side. Rhea does not simply want to defeat Liv. She wants Liv to understand that she can no longer control the situation. For months, Liv has been able to manipulate circumstances and survive against opponents who appeared stronger. Rhea wants to change that. She wants to take away Liv's confidence. She wants to make Liv realize that every escape has a limit. And if Damian Priest is standing beside her, that message becomes even more powerful. But Liv Morgan has never been someone who gives up easily. Even when she appears trapped, she searches for another option. That is one of the qualities that has made her such an effective WWE superstar. Liv understands that she does not need to win every confrontation. Sometimes, surviving is enough. Sometimes, escaping is enough. Sometimes, getting away before the situation becomes even worse is the smartest move. That mentality could be exactly what saves her. The tension between Rhea and Liv also goes beyond a simple wrestling rivalry. Their history has involved the Women's World Championship, personal revenge, and the complicated presence of Dominic Mysterio. Every new confrontation brings those old emotions back. Liv believes she has earned her place at the top. Rhea believes Liv took advantage of circumstances that should have belonged to her. Neither woman is willing to simply forget the past. That is why even a confrontation on Raw can feel like a championship-level battle. One look between Rhea and Liv can bring the entire history back. And when Damian Priest becomes part of that equation, the stakes rise immediately. For Liv, the biggest danger is becoming overconfident. She has escaped difficult situations before. She has surprised Rhea before. She has used distractions before. But every time she believes she has figured out the perfect strategy, Rhea finds a way to adapt. That makes their rivalry unpredictable. Rhea has evolved. Liv has evolved. And both women understand that the next confrontation could change everything. If Rhea and Priest genuinely manage to trap Liv, it would send a huge message to the entire WWE Women's division. It would show that Liv's usual escape tactics are no longer enough. It would also give Rhea a psychological advantage. Rhea could tell Liv that there is no way left to run. But Liv could respond with the exact opposite message. She could prove that no trap is strong enough to keep her down. That is what makes Liv such an interesting opponent. She does not always need to overpower her rivals. She simply needs one opportunity, one distraction, one mistake, one moment when her opponent loses focus. And if Rhea or Priest makes that mistake, Liv could turn the entire situation around. The biggest question is what happens next. Does Liv escape? Does Rhea finally get her hands on her rival? Does Damian Priest become the deciding factor? Or does Liv find another unexpected way to survive? Those questions are what make the story so compelling for WWE fans. Rhea Ripley has become one of the most dominant women in WWE, but Liv Morgan has repeatedly demonstrated that dominance does not guarantee victory. Liv can be outmatched physically and still find a way to survive. Rhea can control the match and still lose momentum because of one unexpected decision. And Priest can bring overwhelming strength into the equation, but even he cannot predict every move Liv might make. That unpredictability is the heart of the rivalry. The confrontation also creates larger possibilities for the future.